Am I the butthole for not wanting to participate in a living funeral for myself before I die this year? I have a genetic condition, and since the diagnosis, many years ago, it's been all but certain I wouldn't pass of natural causes. I'm in my mid-60s, I've had a great life and I've done all the big things I hope to do. I'm dealing just fine and need no sympathy. Doctors confirmed a few months ago that the end stages had set in, and I began making the arrangements. My family very badly wants me to participate in a thing called a living funeral, or pre-funeral, where you gather, on Zoom in this case, as though it is the actual funeral and give speeches and such, but the subject, me, is still alive to witness it all. They've put a lot of thought and care into the planning of the funeral ceremony and apparently seem to feel it would be much more therapeutic for them to do the main portion while I am still here. Even still, I really just don't want to do that. It sounds awful. It sounds emotionally devastating and like it would rip the peace I've made with everything I'm leaving behind right out from under me. My family is still pushing for this, especially because with the pandemic, it may be that a lot of people won't have seen me in a year when I pass. They want to take the opportunity to give a forum to people to say what they need to say to me and make peace with me and commune with me, and feel it won't be nearly as cathartic if I am not there as it would be to do it while I am still alive. I could really benefit from some insight here. Because there's a really valid argument that I'll deal with the fallout of the pre-funeral for a few months at worst, and they'll deal with the emotional fallout of not having had one for years. Am I the butthole for refusing to participate in this nice ceremony they're trying to put together for me? Edit. Clarify detail edit 2. Wow. Thank you so much for the awards, and most of all, your kind words and personal stories. I had no idea this post would attract so much attention, and it's touched me so deeply. I'm very sorry I can't respond to everyone individually. I'm actually on the internet very little these days. But I'm reading everything I can and really appreciate everyone who has taken their time. Thank you all. Not the butthole that's morbid as F. That was my first thought. Personally, I would rather have one hell of a party, even if it had to be a Zoom party. Let me celebrate being alive, rather than mourn my death that hasn't happened yet. This exactly. I can see a party to celebrate Op's life. But to eulogize the guy when he's still alive? That just doesn't sound okay. I think if original post was interested, it could be a nice goodbye party. But that original post isn't interested, they shouldn't be guilted or bugged about it. The family can have private/group Zoom call to talk and connect. That's what makes this living funeral about and for the other people, not Op. NTA. Exactly. If it's for them, then they can have it, for them, and maybe record it. If original post wants to watch it later, cool beans. If not, that is original post choice. If original post doesn't want to hear someone out so they can sleep at night, that's totally original post choice, and they are trying to take it with a garbage sentiment wrapped in guilt. Not the butthole. Yep. If they push it, original post should hire Bill Edgar from Australia. He is an ex-private investigator who can be hired to attend the funeral and let the skeletons out of the closet and roast the crap out of relatives that deserve it. Smiley face, ETA, for your enjoyment. Web link. This is both the greatest and most horrible thing I've read today. Wow. Wow, I love that. That is beautiful. I wish my dad had done that. I know for a fact he hated most of the people at his funeral. My wife and I have already decided we don't want funerals, but if I had a funeral, I would want someone to tell off any family that came uninvited. NTA. Tell your family that you want to go out with a bang, not a whimper. It sounds like that would be so strange to sit around with your family and friends while they tell you how much you mean to them, in the past tense. Tell them to put it in a letter if they feel that strongly about it. Personally, I am not afraid of dying, but something like that, when you have already made peace with the last remaining time you have left, would make it harder to say goodbye. They are being very selfish to your needs and wants. I think the perception needs to change as well. Pre-funeral versus celebratory get-together. I would attend the second, and might even enjoy it. The first one though. No thanks. Agreed. My uncle died of cancer in October, and the indication that it had taken a turn for the worse was when my dad texted my siblings and I to let us know there was going to be a family Zoom call, and that my uncle wanted it to be a happy party. It was devastating to get that news, but having that chance to, virtually, See him with family all around laughing, joking, and reminiscing made the pain a little less, and he got to see us all happy before things got worse. There was this new Amsterdam episode with this same problem except, of course, not Zoom. It helped the person, and pretty sure they named it a celebration or something, I don't know. Or even maybe they could just individually call Original Post and tell them how much they mean to them. But without an audience, who would know who will miss Original Post the very most/s? This is what I thought exactly. If they really want to say something to Op, there's no reason they can't. They don't need a living funeral, which sounds horrible to be honest, for that. I got the impression they, or at least some of them, are going to use it as an excuse to let out negative feelings. If it was just to say their goodbyes and how much they love Original Post, they could just have a private conversation. My uncle died of spinal cancer. There wasn't much they could do by the time it was caught. It started in his early 20s when he was an Air Force pilot, from sitting on the power source in the plane. We never tried to do anything like this. What we did do was visit him. He said he kind of liked dying because he laid around and read books, and everyone came to see him. He got more time and attention from his loved ones than ever before. We focused on enjoying his company, not pre-mourning his death. This could be accomplished over Zoom or Skype or what have you. I did this for my grandpa. Just visited whenever I could. Usually weekends since I was at university. What Op's family is trying to do feels more like it's for them than it is for Op. Which is where there's a problem in their thinking. I agree with others saying that a party, a celebration of life, would be better than the morbid, selfish garbage idea the family has. It's absolutely for them, just like any other funeral ceremony. The deceased certainly doesn't get much from it. True. A funeral would be appropriate if Original Post were deceased. But because they're not, it comes across morbid, and I can only imagine how terribly uncomfortable Original Post would be. I get the need to mourn, but this, I don't know, it just feels wrong. That said, different cultures, different ways of mourning, etc., but I really think Original Post should have the main say in how they're remembered. They sure as crap have a say while they are still alive, at least. That's what I'm saying. Smiley face, sorry if I wasn't clear, grimacing face. Not just morbid. Performative. If people need catharsis and closure, they can, call Original Post and talk about whatever it is they feel so strongly they need to say. To demand that Original Post listens to it all while they stand up in front of a crowd and make a speech is just weird, emotionally masturbatory theater. People have been watching too many movies. NTA, Op. Find your peace where you can get it. This comment needs to be higher. Agreed. Best comment. On the nose. They want their pain to be on display. Gross. If they sincerely want to share memories, they can write what they want to say in a card, limited space so no novels, and send it up Original Post to decide when and if they want to open it. It's like the opposite of a roast. Yuck, that's exactly the word for it. Yes. Yes, it is. I cannot even imagine participating in this from either side. Not the butthole Op. JFC, I'd about go hide if I were you. Yeah. Imagine being okay with the fact that you will die within a certain amount of time, and people want to pretend you're dead now, except not really. It's literally your funeral. In my opinion, you should be the one to decide what happens. Not the butthole. This, 1,000,000 times over. The decision is yours and no one else's. To do otherwise is presumptuous, to put it mildly. They're not thinking about Op. They're thinking about themselves and how they feel, how good it will be for them to tell Original Post how much they'll be missed and how loved they are with pretty words. I kind of wonder if they want validation from Op. Like if their speeches were so moving, so beautiful, Original Post can't help but say something about it. They're probably hoping to see Original Post as a sobbing mess after their particular speech, then they'll know their speech was the best. Knowing humans, I think, but hope not, after this living funeral many participants will forget about Original Post until their passing. It seems exceptionally exhibitionist. If they have things they feel like they haven't talked about because they can't see him in person, why not privately talk to him via Zoom/FaceTime/phone? Maybe living funerals are the next gender reveal, which I swear are mostly done for social media cred. That was my thought too. Why can't anybody who has something specific to say or resolve with original post just make an effort to contact them privately and otherwise just organize a nice group Zoom and chat together? When my grandpa was diagnosed with melanoma and we knew he had no more than a year to live, we just tried to make his last Thanksgiving and Christmas special, but also low stress, for him and ourselves. We all took the time to get family pictures with him, family traveled out who might not have otherwise, etc. That's all. His last week, we made time to get off work and see him in the hospital. When he died, we had a nice memorial. End of the day, when my loved ones have died, I've never felt the need to tell them anything other than I love you. This living funeral thing just isn't necessary for them to process their own grief. They're trying to win his death. Be the best at having a friend die. For effing bragging rights. Too bad Op's family didn't make it a last party kind of deal, where everyone shares their favorite stories, maybe record some of Op's thoughts, etc. It could be a nice memory that could be recorded via Zoom and watched over and over again for years to come. Everyone would have their favorite food, maybe stream a movie or two, have some laughs, and tears, etc. Original post would still have a right to refuse and be not the butthole for it, but at least it would be a celebration of life rather than, well, let's rehearse the funeral. Yes. When my Phil's cancer stopped responding to treatment, we did a "this is your life" type thing for his birthday. There was a slideshow and stories about him. The grandkids each wrote a question that he answered, and was filmed doing so. He had a blast and shared things none of us knew about him. He was still doing relatively well at the time. So the mindset wasn't at all that of a funeral. It was just that we figured even if this wasn't his last birthday, it was probably the last one where he'd feel well enough to enjoy it, and so we wanted to really celebrate big. In a shock to everyone, he passed less than 2 weeks later. So our party turned out to be the perfect send-off. And it really was such a positive, happy way to say goodbye. A living funeral just sounds morbid and depressing. I don't know why anyone would want that. I wish we could have done something like this for my aunt. She passed away recently, but while she was still lucid enough to be part of something like this, she was still trying to fight it. The last few weeks I was able to visit with her a few times at least. Yes, that sounds a lot better. Maybe original post could put this idea forward? Op, no matter what you do with this, have a living funeral or a party or just nothing, you are NTA. It's your life or funeral, so your decision. Yes. I participated a couple of months ago in a last party for a friend who died only a couple of days later. But she wanted the gathering, and nobody called it a funeral. They could still do the living funeral this way. Original post can choose to attend or not, they can record the thing and original post can watch it later if / when wanted. Original post doesn't need to be there because they wouldn't be there normally anyways. Exactly. A funeral while original post is still alive is extremely morbid. I wouldn't want to attend mine either. A party is so much better. Alternatively, they could tell original post how much they love them every individually, without the need for a funeral. Not in a speech, but just in a conversation. That's also cathartic and way less creepy. Absolutely NTA. That's really morbid and sounds depressing AF. If anything, I'd suggest compromising with having get-togethers on Zoom with different people where you can discuss how you're both doing, good memories, things like that. Keep it happy and whatnot. You shouldn't have to participate in anything that you don't want to do that makes you feel uncomfortable. Them trying to force this on you is them making it about their feelings, etc., and that's not fair to you. I don't understand why all these people can't write a letter to original post right now that they would ideally like to say at this living funeral and let original post read it if they wish, and then either read it at the real funeral if they want to, bury it with op, both, or come up with another something to say since you got to say what you wanted to while original post was there to hear it. Like, it makes no sense to me to stage something as a funeral in the first place instead of "can I take you to dinner?" Or my backyard since it's COVID season, so that I can ask you some questions / pull you to the side one last time. Well, again, it's because Op's family cares more about themselves than everyone else getting to deal with their feelings and making those feelings Op's responsibility, and that's not how this works. They're trying to put a massive burden on someone who is going to / die / and the idea that they think that is okay is a jerk move, in my opinion. That's not for them to just decide and want to do. Also, I like your suggestion as well. It's just that original post shouldn't have to participate in them getting to unload their feelings onto them, you know? I think my point was more along the lines of, why does it need to be this collective event? I can understand close family members and friends wanting to say some final words or wanting to do something together in the last few months when you know the final diagnosis has come in. But it's just bizarre that many people put their heads together and thought, yeah, we should do it all together at once. If my best friend was dying in the next 2 weeks, F all y'all. Me and her and going up to the lake with her dog by effing ourselves. Well, I guess her kids can come if she wants, she usually loves them. But the rest of people? Effing no. Catch all of you on flip side. And the exact same reversed. There's exactly 3 people I'd see in my last days, and the rest of y'all can kick rocks. Don't give a crap. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.